Boston Mayor, Ambassador Ray Flynn, you're the reason Tom Menino became mayor. Ray, thank you so much for joining us on this day.
Hi, Maria. Mark.
Great to see you. And it's a tough day, but I think remembering great stories about Tom Menino, I think, is what he would have wanted.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to do that exactly the other day, last Friday, at the Brigham and Women's Hospital. I went over there unannounced, uninvited, and got a kick out of when I told the security guard down at the desk, say, would you call the mayor's room, see whether or not he wants an old friend.
Right.
And I could hear his voice on the other end. Ray, send him right up. So right up I went to the 16th floor, I think it was, and we're there for probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and the doctor came in. I don't know if the doctor knew who I was, but anyway, he said, you know, the visit has been going on for a while here. And then he said, but I'm going to let the visit go on because Mayor Menino is having a good time. He's smiling, he's laughing. So I'll be back. He came back 15 minutes later, and we were still laughing, telling old war stories.
That's great. How did he seem to you, Ray?
Well, I kind of understood what was happening. You know, he was very weak and frail. So, I mean, we had a good chance to talk about a lot of things over the years. You know, we both started. I supported him for city councilor. He supported me for mayor.
Yep.
And we didn't always agree with each other on the various issues over time, of course. The one thing that I think we always agreed on, Maria, is we always had a healthy level of respect for each other. And I admired his loyalty to the city. I admired his loyalty to his family and his love for the people. So, I mean, that's what really takes, that's what is necessary in order to be a good mayor. You don't need to be politically or philosophically compatible on all the issues, but it's about heart. And Tom Menino certainly had a big heart.
Ray, it's been interesting to watch over these last, year really, since Marty Walsh came onto the scene as the mayor, succeeding former Mayor Menino. And, you know, he talks about some advice that he was given and so forth. And I'm looking at you and I'm thinking to myself, did Tom Menino ever seek advice from you on being the mayor of Boston?
No, not really. I mean, I never sought advice from Kevin White either. You bring your instincts and you bring your judgment, you bring your values to the office. Obviously, if he asked my opinion, I'd certainly give it to him. But you know, it's something that everybody wants to do on their own. He had the necessary qualifications to be mayor. Not the best schools, not the best institutions, but the best instincts. The same with me. He was Italian, I was an Irish kid from South Boston, he was from Reedville. No big, powerful business interests put us in office, or money, or politicians, or special interests. We got there the old-fashioned way, through hard work, pounding on doors, meeting the people. And
that's what made you so unique, and I think that's why you both had mutual respect for each other. And then, you know, you go on to become ambassador to the Vatican, and Menino he was so happy being mayor of the city of Boston, and I know you were as well. You know, we know you, Ray, the guy who went around on the snow plows, and you made sure that the neighborhoods were taken care of. And Menino, he followed that legacy that you left, for sure.
I think we all learned from each other, Maria. I think I learned from Kevin White, you know, the focus on the downtown, which was necessary, which was a great accomplishment.
You had to do it then, absolutely.
And then I had a shift to the neighborhoods, of course, because the neighborhoods were in tough shape. Race relations was a big issue in Boston. Nothing works if the races aren't working together. Tommy Menino came in, and he kind of combined both what Kevin White did in the downtown, what Ray Flynn did in the neighborhoods, and he kind of gave it that balance of both downtown, keeping the growth going, the jobs, but also a healthy respect for the people in the neighborhoods. So Marty Walsh will do something different, and it'll make Boston an even better city.
The pace at which he would go out into the neighborhoods, and yourself as well, I mean, that is part of the human touch that we hear so much about in being the mayor. And it's something that he did over, you know, 20 years' time. I mean, that's an incredible legacy.
It's a small city, Mark, but it has a big reputation. So if you don't show up at some kid's confirmation or graduation or a bachelor party, they'll say, where the hell is he?
It's not 9 to 5, not 9 to 5, right?
So, you know, you have to be there, and it gets in your blood. It's what you ran for. I mean, nobody drafted me for mayor of Boston. Nobody drafted Tom Menino for mayor of Boston. We wanted this. We had a passion. We wanted to serve, and the people knew that's how we felt. That's why they elected us, and that's why they elected Marty Walsh, and that's why Tommy Menino is so successful.
Yep, and you as well, and Marty Walsh will be. I mean, you're from the city. And that matters to the people of Boston. And I think that speaks volumes about the people of Boston, because they just want a reflection of who they are. They don't want a fancy politician. You weren't a fancy politician, Ray.
Not
Tom
at all.
Menino wasn't, and Marty Walsh isn't either. You guys lead with your heart and your head, and you see where it takes you.
I said to him the other day, Maria, you'll get a kick out of this.
All right,
I never told anybody about this, but Tommy used to like to go down to Filene's basement and get suits. I think he probably has 300 suits.
I know, and all his ties. I know, we've talked to him about it before.
You know, the last time I bought a suit was 21 years ago. Anytime you see me with the suit on, it's the same suit that I had. And I said, Tom, I know time is running out, but what are you going to do with all those suits? He says, do you want a couple? I says, yeah, you'll have to bring a big Jordan Marsh truck up and drop them off at some place. So I'm going to be looking out the window tomorrow, and I'm going to see if those suits come over to my house on Flint Place in South Boston.
That's wonderful. And you know, I gave him a really hard time at the end, because when I was an Emerson College student, I saw him at Filene's basement. I think he was a city council president. I think he was going to grad school then. And I said to him, just a short time ago, I said, why did you let Filene's basement leave the city of Boston? I took it personal, and he didn't like that I asked him that. And he said, you know, he didn't want it to go, and he loved that place. And that told you who he was. He wasn't shopping on Newbury Street.
He was
Not to say he didn't love it.
for the Thursday discount.
No, you look at the dates. Remember the dates,
You're right.
Mayor?
You know, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's Filene's basement, that's where the people go.
Yep,
that's where the mayors go. And if you go down Newbury Street, you're going to see a lot of people from Wellesley. If you go down to Filene's basement, you're going to see a lot of people from Reedville and Southie.
Right, and not to say that you guys didn't love Newbury Street. That was part of your city as well. You know, Ray, I see you there at our Beacon Hill studio, and I remember, I think Ak was with me, and it was when we first learned that Tom Menino was really sick. And you happened to be with us, and you brought your beautiful grandson and your wonderful wife, and we told you.
Yeah.
And you were devistated. It really got you.
I hadn't seen the film before, you know, I hadn't really
and we
seen
showed
that.
You, right.
You showed me the film, and to be honest with you, Maria, I wish I had handled it a little differently.
Why?
Because you get criticized for sharing your emotions and you're pouring out your heart.
No, that's who you are, Ray.
Well, that's who I am, but in this political age, you know, you listen to your consultants, I guess. You don't lead with your instincts or your heart. But you know what, Maria? I was glad I was on your show with Ak. I wouldn't have done a damn thing differently.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I said what I said.
Yep. You meant it. You meant every word of it. So you have any stories that you'd like to share with us? Something that maybe you haven't shared before?
Well, you know, Tommy Menino went over to Rome. I was appointed chairman of the Boston delegation for the consistory. So I was to pick out a group of distinguished Boston residents to travel to Italy with me, the Vatican. And so I chose as chairman Tommy Menino, Angelo Scarcia, Bobby Travellini, and Sal DeMacy. You notice that they're all Italian Americans.
Oh, I know all of them. Yep.
So, you know, here we are. We're having fun. We're going to all the civic and religious events and so forth. I got a phone call. The Pope wanted to have breakfast with me and Kathy and I. So I called the boys up and I said, look, I'm not going to be able to meet you tomorrow. They're supposed to go down to Campidoglio to meet with the mayor of Rome. That's City Hall. And I said, will you represent me? I have a Paul Revere bowl, and you could present it to the mayor. They went down to City Hall. Tommy Menino made a nice speech, gave the Paul Revere to the mayor of Rome. He was the leader of the Communist Party of Italy. And when Tommy Menino made his speech, he didn't want to hear a good thing about Boston or America. And the mayor was very critical of America, capitalism and imperialism and all these things that he called us. And Tommy Menino said, Ray, you set me up. Why didn't you tell me he was the head of the Communist Party in Rome? I says, Tommy, I didn't know, but I just thought I was giving you a little bit of notoriety and fame. But he told me that story again Friday, put his arm around my neck and said, Ray, I don't care. I'm still going to remember that story. You set me up.
That is classic. That is classic. He will never let you forget if there was one of those moments, ever. And he'll joke about it with you, but he never forgot.
It's not about issues. It's not about policies. It's not about anything. It's all about heart, Maria, and Ak. It's all about, you know, can people identify with you? Do people like you? Do people believe you? And I think that's what Tommy Menino had. He had believability. He was one of them. He was Italian. I was Irish, coming from immigrant poor working class roots, Reedville, South Boston. But I think we brought that to City Hall with us, and hopefully, I know he did, and hopefully I did, made Boston a better city.
Absolutely.
Ray, you had the occasion of saying goodbye to your friend. He has since passed. And when you look back at what he did for the city of Boston over those 20 years, what will jump out at you the most?
Well, Kevin White did the downtown development. That was essential at the time. Ray Flynn did the neighborhoods and healed the city along racial lines in the aftermath of the busing. Tommy Menino had that perfect balance of keeping the growth in the city going, and yet at the same time making sure the neighborhoods and the people, working class people, benefited from that economic growth in downtown.
And you love the city as much as Tom Menino, and I think maybe that's just what happens when you become mayor of a really unique city.
Yeah, don't vote for a special interest politician. Vote for somebody who has their heart, understands, even if they lead with their instincts and their heart, vote for that kind of person. The city can't go wrong. Are
people like you, like the mayor, is that going away?
Are they cut from that cloth, or are they still here?
Is that gone? I mean, let's be honest.
I don't know. I think Marty Walsh comes from that quality too. I knew his father John. I knew his uncle Pat. Labor people, they were friends of mine. I think Marty Walsh still has that. I think you got some pretty good voters in Boston who can see through this money and through the power and the special interest and the media and the cynicism. And I think in the final analysis, you marry because you have a chemistry and a love for your wife or your husband. I think in the final analysis, you elect for a mayor because the voters have that chemistry with the mayor of Boston.
I agree. I think that says a lot about the voters. I think that is why Marty Walsh is in there right now. I think that it
reflects a lot of that.
It absolutely does. Mayor, my best to your family.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Good to talk to you. Go
nice
PC.
To talk with you. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Great seeing you. Great
Very
seeing
good.
you.